All of the very early temples were dedicated to them as the Creator's executors. Most of these temples, I find, were subsequently dedicated to the sun and the moon. The sun temple symbolizing the male principle of the Creator, and the temple of moon the female principle. Still later, I find temples dedicated to the 7 great commands of creation and symbolized by an adorned or conventional serpent. From the beginning, various symbols for the sacred four began to creep in. Also, plurality of names was given to them at different times by various people. I have a collection of over 50 names given to them. Among them are the 4 great ones, the 4 powerful ones, the 4 great kings, the 4 great maharajas, the 4 great builders, the 4 great architects, the 4 great geometricians, the 4 great pillars, and today we call them the 4 archangels. Somewhere about 6,000 or 7,000 years ago, a confusion was caused by giving the pillars keepers, which were called genii. This addition of keepers for the pillars must have occurred after the destruction of Lemuria, as I do not find them in any of the writings of the first civilization. The pillars were placed at the 4 corners of the earth to teach ancient man the 4 cardinal points. The earth's symbol is the 4-sided square, which when referring to anything but the cardinal points is shown with sides, top and bottom parallel, thus this symbol. And when associated with the cardinal points or referring to them is placed thus, so that the points shall be in their true position. The crossing of these 2 squares was used by the Egyptians to symbolize the 8 roads to heaven, this symbol. The writings about genii are so obtuse and so mixed up that I cannot look upon them as anything but a camouflage for the pillars. Consequently, the changing of the name from the sacred 4 to genii is a change of vestment only. Birds as symbols play an important part in the ancient religious conceptions, but what they actually symbolize remains for the Mexican tablets to tell us. We have an Egyptian record in their ancient god Seb, but what is said about him by the Egyptians is purely symbolical, that, without other evidences, the layman can hardly be brought to understand. In the Egyptian Book of the Dead, here the god Seb is called the father of gods, the bearer of the gods, the leader of the gods. Seb was also called the great cackler, which produced the mundane egg. He is spoken of as having laid the egg out of which the earth and all therein came forth. It further says, I protect the egg of the great cackler. If I thrive, it thrives. If I live, it lives. If I breathe the air, it breathes. The god carries on his head a figure of a goose. Seb was the Egyptian name for this particular species of goose. The foregoing speaks of both the Creator and the 4 great creative forces emanating from him. As hitherto stated, gods were the sacred 4, thus showing the old Egyptians knew perfectly well what the origins of these forces were. In the Sandwich Island, there is a tradition saying that in the beginning there was nothing but water, when a big bird descended from on high and laid an egg in the sea. The egg burst and Hawaii came forth. It was Mexico, however, that has given us the clinching proof of what bird symbols of the ancients really signified. Among Niven's collection of Mexican tablets, there are over 50 showing birds. I have selected one to decipher, to tell what they all mean. This is Mexican tablet number 1086. The eye of the bird is the Uyghur form of the monotheistic symbol of deity. Projecting from the bird's breast is the hieratic letter H from the alphabet of Mu, which was among all ancient people. This was the alphabetical symbol for the 4 great forces. The body of the bird is in the shape of a pod, symbol for the home of the primary forces. The various lines in connection with the pod are old esoteric Uyghur temple writings. This bird therefore symbolizes the creative forces of deity, and the forces are shown emanating out or coming forth from deity. By extension, the figure reads a symbol for the Almighty, showing 4 great primary forces coming out of Him. On Easter Island have been found various bird symbols and conventional animals with birds' heads. One has an egg in its claw, which seems to show that the ancient Easter Islanders had the same conceptions as the Hawaiians. Legends of some North American Indians show that bird symbols are their favorite symbol for the creative forces. The name for their bird is the thunderbird. Birds appear among ancient records of the Babylonians, Chaldeans, Hittites, as one of their symbols of the sacred 4, the creative forces. The Assyrian genii also included a bird. The Egyptians included a bird. The Bible also includes a bird. Asked to interpret the meaning of a totem pole in Alaska, a very old chief of the tribe of Hayden Indians said, "The winged creature which crowns the totem pole is the thunderbird, which represents the great creator." It would have been more correct if he had said, represents the great creative forces. I am under the impression that this winged circle got its inspiration from a bird symbol. This ancient conception remains very dear to us, for whenever heavenly beings are depicted, they are shown with wings like a bird. All the various bird symbols, from so many widely diversified spots, express the same conception, and it seems to me that, different as they are in appearance, they must all have a common ancestor. The specialized cross was one of the figures used by the ancients to denote the sacred four, the four great primary forces. The cross was always a favorite symbol among the ancients, probably because they found it more expressive than any other figure. Studying and writing about the sacred four appears also to have been an absorbing theme with them. Today, the Pueblo Indians of Arizona and New Mexico refer to the sacred four as those above. The mother of all crosses was plain with 4 arms of equal length. I find it in the sacred and inspired writings as the symbol of the sacred four, the great creative forces. This is Mexican tablet number 672. It's an exact duplication of the cross heretofore mentioned as having appeared in the Oriental copies of the sacred inspired writings of Mu. As the time went on, the cross evolved. It developed into 4 distinct lines, becoming more intricate all the time. 1. The end of the first line and the shortest I have called the pyramid cross. 2. The end of the second line is a cross formed into 4 loops, having the symbol of the deity in the center. These I have called the loop crosses. 3. The end of the third line is the well-known swastika, known as the good luck symbol. 4. The end of the fourth line was the winged circle. The ancients rioted in designs for this figure, the Egyptians excelling others in beautiful devices and marvelous artistry. Besides these main 4 lines, there were many single special designs. A group of crosses among Niven's collection of Mexican tablets is especially interesting. I have called them the pyramid crosses because they are designed on the lines of a pyramid. They are the cosmogony of a pyramid illustrated by a cross. The 4 arms are composed of 4 triangles corresponding with the 4 sides of a pyramid. The points of these triangles are covered with the monotheistic symbols of deity. The base of a pyramid is square, the 4 triangles brought together to form square. The pyramid is built on astronomical lines, so is the cross. These crosses were drawn before the submersion of Lemuria. Were any pyramids built before that date? I know of none. Were pyramids evolved out of these crosses? Figure A is the base of a pyramid divided into 4 triangles. Figure B, dotted lines within the circle show the points of the triangles, corresponding to the top of a pyramid. Figure C shows the cross with the monotheistic symbol of deity, Naga pattern, crowning the points. Figure D is the same as figure C, with the exception that the Uyghur monotheistic symbol crowns the points. Figure E, the point of the triangle is covered by the monotheistic symbol. The following is written on these tablets: the 4 great pillars, the sacred four, the 4 great architects, the 4 great builders, and the 4 great powerful ones. Number 777 confirms the fact that the 4 triangles forming the cross are the sacred four because the symbol within the triangle reads pillar. The 4 triangles with their inscription therefore read the 4 great pillars, one of the names given to the sacred four. During the life of Mu, it was taught that the 4 great pillars sustained the universe. After the destruction of Mu, the universe was forgotten and the earth was given the honor of anchoring and sustaining the pillars. A pillar was placed at each of the cardinal points, north, south, east, and west. Looped crosses. The evolution of this line started with the plain cross shown in the sacred writings and ended with the deity being added to 4 loops, symbolizing the 4 great forces, with the name of the forces given within the loop. Figure 1 shows the original cross. Figure 2 shows the oldest form of the loop cross that I have yet found. It is very ancient, from the fact that the symbol of the deity is of the ancient pattern and not yet specialized. It is a question in my mind whether a link is not missing between Figure 1 and Figure 2. The change appears to me to be too radical for the ancients. Sometime during the teachings of primitive man, trouble apparently began to accumulate over the circle, which was used to symbolize various things. It was then decided to specialize the circle, which symbolized the deity. The Nagas added a dot in the center and the Uyghurs the inner circle. Figure 2 has neither of these specializations. Figure 3a is the same as Figure 2, except that Figure 3a has the Naga pattern of the symbol for deity. Figure 3b is the same as Figure 2, except that this cross has the Uyghur pattern for the symbol of deity. Figure 4. This figure shows the last addition to the loop crosses. Within the arms of the loop, the names of the force are written. In this case, the name of the force being Builder, a 2-sided square like this figure. The loop is a symbol for a certain divine order that had been carried out. The forest has returned